Could you briefly introduce yourself and your company?
Scott Deems, founder and CEO of BeONE Sports out of Houston, Texas. And we are really focused on building artificial intelligence in order to help athletes and coaches learn from elite athletes.
What challenges or needs led you to look for a software development vendor?
We realized that in order to get products out to the world, we had to develop full stack, and we didn't have those resources. So we went on a pretty lengthy journey to sort of look around for developers, not only in the US, but nearshore and offshore talent. So that's when we got hooked up with MobiDev, and sort of the rest is history.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend MobiDev as a software development vendor?
400. I think that it's not really a challenge sometimes on capabilities, and because all the capabilities are there. Like from what I saw, all the capabilities are there, and I think I would be a huge advocate for anybody who's exploring development in the world to reach out to MobiDev.
What made MobiDev stand out among other vendors you considered?
First and foremost, I would score MobiDev highly in communication. I found that not only the language, the way that we would communicate, but the use of the tools to communicate, work management systems that the team used were really much more structured and much more consistent than what I saw in other groups. I think the next one was the process. So the MobiDev team really brought us through a pretty detailed process. From the very beginning, the team really wanted to understand attitudes and behaviors that we're trying to connect with in our customers. I think lastly, the management of the project. So in this case, Violetta was fantastic, having just somebody there all the time, whether it through Slack or email or whatever, but kind of ready to answer any questions. So that dedicated team concept from MobiDev was like another big factor.
From a technical perspective, what aspects of MobiDev's approach impressed you the most?
So first of all, just the artificial intelligence and understanding of computer vision, more specifically pose estimation, but then for the developers in that space to understand the proprietary side of BeONE and really grasp it and deploy it. That was really cool because my team and their team could work together, and in some cases would problem solve that got us to the next level without even us sort of realizing. Then I think also in the architecture, we had a really big requirement to build and invest in the architecture of the product, knowing that scale was going to be a major component of it. So they spent a lot of time building a back end and a process to control and manage data through the mobile app, and that ended up being a really powerful thing that allows us to sort of move forward and keep growing.
Can you recall specific moments during the project that demonstrated the team's understanding of your business goals?
When we were going through the BA portion, just sort of understanding personas and the whole workflow. And I remember the questions in the beginning were so perfect, because I imagine he did some research to understand particular movements. Then days later would ask a really specific question about, throwing mechanics or an arm position, which was like exactly what we're focusing on. That was awesome. And then trying to just solutionize to get to what we were trying to provide the customer, the experience of the customer, visualizing data and things like that.
How would you describe your overall experience working with the MobiDev team?
I think the biggest memory of working with MobiDev was the adaptability of the team, because just like a startup business is constantly changing and learning and moving, in our development process, so was the product. And the product would gain new backlog items like on a daily basis. And what I really enjoyed about the MobiDev team is the flexibility and the ability to adapt. And there was never any contention or fighting back, because they went through that initial process of understanding the why we were doing it.
In your opinion, what types of businesses would benefit the most from MobiDev's services?
Any app development, and I say any because our application was focused on sports and sports training, but you can tell that all the components required, from a financial application, a sports application, a social application, really anything in the mobile development world, I think would be the target, and you guys would be able to crush it.
What would you say is the most positive aspect of working with MobiDev?
I can say it in one word: the people. We got the opportunity to meet the team, and of course we were building through 2022 and the challenges going on obviously in Ukraine, and the team, we built a relationship. The professionalism, the consistency, the responsibility of the team and MobiDev was it was outstanding. I was like almost emotionally struck at how the people on the team were so dedicated to not just MobiDev or the product. It was like they were dedicated to themselves to be great. And that, I've actually not ever seen that before.
How did MobiDev's work contribute to reaching your key milestones?
The biggest component was through the mobile app itself, because we were introducing a concept in American collegiate sports called name, image, and likeness. And NIL is, a massive component now of college sports. But at the time we were building the mobile app, it had just become legal. So we were sort of building the plane while flying it. And what was really great about the MobiDev application is that it facilitated the whole, not only presence of those digital versions of the athletes in the app, but how users can download those individuals specifically. The paywalls were controlled, the accounting was controlled. So it kind of gets back to, the overall architecture and workflow of what we were trying to achieve was super strong, and MobiDev brought that to the table.
How has the BeONE Sports app evolved since we transitioned to the on-demand support model?
We started with the mobile application, and then focused more and more on business-to-business contracts, where we were meeting face-to-face and listening to the customers on their needs. So that sort of turned into direct contracts with schools and clubs and teams. So the company, has grown in that latter sense, and I believe we're close to 200,000 in revenue for 2025. A lot of that was contributed to a partnership with Rice University, and doing some applications in the Air Force. So we're still targeting a strong go-to-market that is going to open up sort of lots of new features to not only the technology, but the process of analytics for sports.
As BeONE Sports continues to grow, how do you envision the collaboration with MobiDev developing further?
So we're always maintaining relationships. We always want to keep passionate people close to our team. And I think now, as we start to learn more about what the company needs, and we're focusing on certain demands and areas we're being pulled, I can see that MobiDev is going to be a team that we can continue to collaborate with. I think there's some really strong potentials both in the international application of the technology.